Hello everyone. We all have played games on mobile, computer or laptop, but have we designed any games? No. So today here I am with a computing video to help you design with a Scratch programming language, the game Frog and the Snake game. So welcome to the video. Let's begin. My game is designed this way. I have 3 sprites in my game, that is the frog, the snake and the gift box. And I do have a background which is of a forest. So when I click on the green flag, what happens is the snake moves across the screen and the frog also can make movement up, down, left and right of the stage. Now, the game begins this way. When I cross over, if I'm caught by the snake, it displays a message. So I will run the program again. So I need to escape the snake and touch the gift box which is above. So I escape through the snake and I touch the gift box. It displays a message to me and the backdrop changes. So this is what we are going to design now using Scratch program. Before we begin programming the Scratch game, let me introduce to some of the important blocks that I'm going to use in the game. The first one, as you see change size by 10. This block is used to change the appearance of the sprite which is used in the game. In case it is too big, I want to increase the size of the sprite, I can use this block. I can also use to do the same using set size to 100%. The normal size of the sprite is 100%, but in case if I need to make the size of the sprite smaller, I can use this block, but I need to type in 50 or 25 depending on this requirement of the size of the sprite. Let me show you with an example. This is the normal size of the sprite of a frog, but if I want to make it smaller for my game, I can use this block and make the frog appear in this size. The next block what we are using is go to random position. Now we all have seen the coordinate values on the stage and the x coordinate and the y coordinates. Now the sprite is placed at the center of the stage. If I want the sprite to move to a random or an unknown position on the screen, I can use this block, go to random position. So this also depends on the requirement of my game. In case if I know exactly at which point the sprite has to appear, I can use this block, go to 0 and y to 0. Go to x to 0 and y 0. That is what has happened here. The sprite has moved to the center of the stage. If I want the value to change, I can mention the coordinates and my sprite will move from this position to this position which is mentioned. The next block that we are going to use in our program is key up arrow pressed. Now which key are we talking about? This is the key that we have on the keyboard. You must have played games that when you press the up arrow, the car moves or one of the characters move. The same way in sprite, we have this key up arrow pressed. When I press the key up arrow on my keyboard, I want some actions to perform. The action what I'm going to perform is, I'm going to change the y coordinate by 10. Changing y by 10 means if my y coordinate is at 0, it increases the value to 10, 20, 30, 40. As the sprite is moving or changing the coordinate values, I can feel that the sprite is moving upwards. You should also notice that this block, key up arrow pressed, is used with if then block. So if my key arrow is pressed, then I change my y coordinate by 10. So let me show you an example. So I have the sprite at the center. So if I press the right key I have the sprite appearing at a coordinate on the right hand side. And if I press the up key, I have the sprite appearing at a coordinate upwards. Likewise, the left and downwards. So this is how this block helps in the game. The next block is touching on sprite. Now we do have a block called touching. That means when I'm doing programs or planning some game, in case my sprite touches another sprite or the other character, it should do some action or it should display some message. That is when I use touching point sprite. This sprite name can vary depending on the other sprites that I have included in my game. And this block also is used with if and then block. Let me show you an example. Here you see that I have the mouse pointer touching the sprite and it displays a message touching. So when I move away the pointer from the mouse, it says not touching. So this is the use of this block. Let's see some more examples that I use in the game. Say hello for 2 seconds. Now I use this sprite to say hello or display a message by the sprite. As you see in the example, the sprite says hello, and I can also change for how many seconds I want the sprite to say hello. So this is the use of this block. The next one, I have set rotational style to left to right. Now this block is used when I want the sprite to move from left side of the screen to the right, or I want in different rotational styles, then I use this block. I will show you some of the options that I'll get. Set rotational style, left to right, don't rotate, and all around. So as we do the program, we will see what are the other options or how does these options work. The next block is switch backdrop to backdrop 1. Now whenever I want the backdrop or the background that I choose for the game, I want it to switch to another background. So that is when I use this switch backdrop to backdrop 1. So looking at the example, you can make out I have this brick design backdrop and it suddenly changes to another backdrop of a beach scene. So this is how this block is used in the program. Now let's see some of the last few used blocks in the program. The block is if on edge bounce. That means if the sprite is moving around the stage and if it hits the stage or the corner of the stage, it should bounce back. So here is an example. I have this ball which is moving around. So once it hits the corner or the edge of the stage, it bounces back. So that is when we will use this block. Now if I do not use this block, what happens is my ball will go out of the stage. So it looks not very a good designing in a game. So that is when I use this block if on edge bounce. The next block is stop all. Now in case if I have my programming doing multiple actions, multiple movements on the stage, now I want everything to stop at once. So that is when I use stop all. So with the example you can make out, I have different color, background and the movement of the sprite and suddenly it stops. So that is when we use this stop all block. So let's start designing a game now using Scratch programming. First, we have the stage. So we will delete the sprite that we have. First, we will choose all the sprite that is required for our game. The first one, we will choose the frog. And the next, we need the snake. So let's add in the snake. So you can also just type in here and you will get the sprite. The third one, I'm going to type in the gift and I add the gift. I will just separate or distance these sprites a little away so that it will be easy for you to see. I need to choose the background. So I will choose blue sky, and with the backdrop, my sprites are ready. Now I need to start programming in each of these sprites. So first I will begin with the frog. The first block which I add in is when flag clicked. So I begin my program with when flag clicked. The second one, I need to resize this sprite. I don't want to begin with this size. I just want to change the size of my sprite. As we discussed earlier, I use the block set size to 50%. So when I click on the flag, you can see my frog has reduced its size to 50%. The next block that I use is go to X coordinate value and Y coordinate value. I want to position my sprite at one of the designated values. So what I do is I position and I make a note of the coordinate, which is 31 and 164. I type in the value and my sprite is positioned. Now I will reposition the sprite and then I will click on the flag. So you will notice that my sprite is positioned to that coordinate value of x31 and y minus 164. Now I also need to position this gift box and the snake. Now the next movement of the frog is I want it to move upward, downward, left and right. The blocks that I use is, as you can remember, the block was key up arrow pressed. So I need to find for that block and I need to add that block in the state. So it is under control. I guess it is in sensing. So I will go down and look for the block. So all these blocks, you can recognize them by the control name or even by the color. So I have the block E space pressed. This is not what we saw, but the space, when we click on the space, I can change the value of the key. And I should also use this block with if then. So what I do is I drag in the if then block and I fix this key space press. Now I don't want to click on the space, but I want to press on up arrow and then I want to change some action. As you see, we have the different characters on the keyboard, like up arrow, down arrow, A, B, C, D. Any of the characters we can keep it for movement. So when I press key up arrow press, what should happen is I should change my coordinate value, or I want the frog to move upwards. How will I make my frog move upwards is by changing the Y coordinate. So I go to motion and I choose the block, change Y by 10. So my coordinates will change by 10 value every time I click on the up arrow. I can also go ahead and change the value inside the circle. So I'll remain or keep it as it is 10. I can duplicate the block. In case if I have to use the same block many times, I can use duplicate. Now I want the other block. When I click on the down arrow, I want the frog to come down. So that is when I use key down arrow and my Y coordinates will change to minus 10. I duplicate the value and I choose the left arrow and I choose change X by 10. Remember, the frog has to move horizontally, not vertically now. So I change X by 10. So my frog movement should be up, down, left and right. So I change the X coordinate by 10. I also duplicate again. And now this time it has to be right. Okay, I choose left. I guess it has to remain left. The previous one has to be changed to right arrow. So I'll keep this as it is, left, and I change the previous one to right arrow, because if I click on the right arrow, my coordinate should be plus 10 x coordinate. So I change my x value to minus when I click on the left arrow. All my blocks are ready now, but these actions should be followed when these actions of moving up, down, left and right should be done until I click or touch the gift box, which is placed above, and the frog moves up and it should touch the gift box. What I do is I put in a block, repeat until. Okay. I get the block and I drop in here, including all the other blocks inside that. Repeat until. So all these blocks should be repeated until when? Until I touch the gift box. So this is what the code is. We discussed this touching gift. So I can change the slide name. Now this is done. After it touches the gift box, remember I displayed a message. So I use this block, say hello, and I type in happy birthday to me. So when the frog touches the gift box, I should display this message. So I'm using this block. So I type in happy birthday to me. I click on the green flag. Let's see how it works. My frog is positioned. I will reposition it and then click yes. My frog is positioned. It moves up. It's moving down. It moves right and left. Now I should also check when touching the gift box, does it say the message? So what I will do now is I will position the frog, and I will go to the gift box and I will code for the gift box. First block which I add in is when flag clicked. After I add in when flag clicked, I use the same blocks. I first resize the gift box. So I use the block set size to 100%. So I will go to looks and I will change the block to set size to 50%. I want the gift box to be smaller. Okay. Now I reposition the gift box because I have to position the gift box right above the frog. I check the coordinate values. It is -1 and 158. So I go ahead and change x value as -1 and y coordinate as 158. I click on the flag. You can see my gift box has changed its size, and it is when I reposition it, it is positioning back to the coordinate value that I mentioned. Okay. Now we will come back to the frog code and we'll click on the green flag. My frog is repositioned. I touch the gift box. It says happy birthday to me. Okay, till here my code is working good. Now I need the code for the snake now. So my frog is done. Frog code. This is what is the code for my frog. Okay. I also need to add this block, switch backdrop to blue sky. Now why am I doing it? Because as I begin the game, I have my backdrop blue sky. But when it touches the gift box, I want the backdrop to change to a party background. So what I'll do is I will search for party background. I will add that background as well. But it should switch back after it displays the message happy birthday to me. So I will add the switch backdrop to party now. So I will click on the green flag. I will start the program. So I will reposition the gift box and the frog. I click on the flag. It is repositioned with the size. I move up, down, left and right. And I move up and touch the gift box. And it says happy birthday to me. And after saying that, it switches the backdrop. So this code is working fine. Now, What we have is we need to code for the snake now. So we click on the snake's sprite. I will start off with the code when flag clicked. I will reposition the block when flag clicked. And I also want to resize the sprite. So I go ahead and add the same block, set size to 100, and I change it to 50%. Now my sprite size is changed. I also want to position my sprite snake. But where do I want to position? I want to position my sprite here. So before I start, I want the snake to position here. I check the coordinates. My coordinates is minus 343 to 43 and y coordinate is 51. I change the coordinates. I click on the green flag and check if it gets repositioned. Yes, my size is altered to 50% and my sprite also is changed to coordinate values. And you also must have seen the sprite moving from left to right. So which code do I add? The block which I add should be set rotational style. So this is what we discussed. So when I click on the green flag, my sprite is ready to move from left side of the screen to the right side. But I also have the other options like don't rotate and all around. So depending on the program, we will be choosing the options. So right now I have chosen left to right. So how will it move? So it is positioned, it is resized, and it has taken a rotational size left to right. I want the block or the sprite to move 10 steps every time So I want the sprite to move by 10 steps as it is moving from left to right. And this should repeat. And this movement should repeat for a long time. And it should repeat until when? Until it touches the frog. So I use the block touching mouse pointer. I add in and I change to frog because when my snake is touching the frog, I want it to move. Until it touches the frog, I want the movements to happen. So I reposition the sprites. I run the program. Okay, my sprites are repositioned. You see the snake is moving from left to right, moving 10 steps ahead, and it keeps on moving until it touches the frog. Okay. Now what should I do? Now the next block what I add is I have if on edge bounce back. So what happens? If it is touching the edge, it bounces back. So this is the code for the snake. It is moving slowly with 10 steps, but as soon as it touches the edge of the stage, it bounces back. Now we run the program. Now when the frog touches the snake, I want to display a message. So how do I do it? I use say block, say hello. I need to add here for the snake, right? So add in say hello and I type in I caught you. The moment it catches or comes in touch or contact with the frog, I want this message to be displayed. So I type in I caught you. I run the program again. My frogs are positioned. I move the clock up and right. It's fine. I touch the sprite snake and I displays the message. I caught you, and it touches the sprite gift and it changes the background. I go back to the frog code. I just put this back and I need to select stop all. This block is used after it touches the frog. After the snake touches the frog, I want all the actions to stop and just run the program. Then I run the program. My frog is working fine with up and down movements, left and right. I move up, comes in contact with the snake. I need to stop all the actions. That is why I use stop all. I run the program again. Now I will escape the snake and I move up and touch the gift box. It says happy birthday to me and the backdrop changes. So this is how we design the frog and the snake game. So these are the codes that we added for the frog sprite. Okay, we add switch background, signs was changed, go to, if up arrow, down arrow, right arrow, left arrow key were pressed, I had a display message and I changed the background. So these were the codes for the snake. I changed the position, I displayed if on edge it bounces back, and these are the codes for the gift box. So this is how my program is designed for any Scratch programming. So this is a small program to help you design a game with the frog, snake and a gift box. Hope today's video was more of fun designing the frog and the snake game. Hope to see you all with more designing of games on your own using all the blocks which was explained today. To meet you the next video with more designing and games. Thank you.